Welcome to a sketching tutorial for the 2D sketching section. We're going to do some orthographic sketching of this dining room table that's here. So your orthographic sketching is 2D sketching as you've done throughout BGE. The first kind of part that you're looking for on your orthographic sketching is to put in your construction lines. I'm using Procreate on the iPad. It's easy enough to use pencil and paper and a straight edge. Anything that I do in grey would be light pencil lines. Anything that I do in black would be dark pencil lines. So we're going to sketch this table, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the proportions that we've got in here. So I'm just going to start by drawing a line right the way across the bottom of my page in here, and probably start just about here, and it's another straight line up here. First thing I'm going to look at is overall height. So I can see, I'm going to judge, and I'm going to come in around about here and just a line across the page. Now, I'm guessing that that table is twice as long as it is tall, so just judging again about here and putting in a crate here for my construction lines for the overall view of the front of that table, or the elevation. As I'm looking at that, I'm going to quickly sketch in the elevation, or outline the elevation of where I think the proportions are. I'm looking at the tabletop there, and I think the tabletop in terms of proportions probably comes in not too far from the top, so that would probably be my tabletop around about there. The two legs of the table, they come in a wee bit, not too far, just come down here again. These are just construction lines, nice light lines, easy enough to change later on, and again coming in this side and here. That'll give me roughly, it looks about symmetrical. And finally I want the crossbar that's going across the bottom, so again up a little bit about here, and we're in here, and that's given me that kind of front view of the table. So I'm going to go and firm those lines in. I'm fairly happy with that, and I'm going to create some outlines in black of my table. So I'm going to be a little bit more exact now. Again, feel free to use a straight edge or whatever you're happy with on here. Sketch freehand if you want to. We've got our tabletop firmed in. Probably want to firm in the legs next. And we're bringing them in. I could probably zoom in a little bit. And come across here. You can see that that other line isn't fully parallel, so I could probably fix that just now to around about there. And come across, and then I'll finish off with that crossbar that's in there. I think that's probably a little bit thicker than I'd like it to be, so I'm going to come in and bring it up a wee bit. Judge it in, finishing off the crossbar at each side, nice and symmetrical. And quite happy with that. So I've got my elevation of my table. I'm going to zoom back out and I'm thinking probably the plan would be the easiest for you to create second. So the plan sits above my elevation, and the plan's dead easy. So I'm just going to create a wee gap, be nice and consistent, and I'm going to continue on using the construction lines that I created earlier. And I've got my width, and I would think it's probably about half the size of the width, maybe about here, for my overall plan of the table. And that one's easy enough, just to go straight in and put my outlines on. It's just a tabletop, it's nice and easy. So side to side, probably want to zoom in a little bit so I can see this. Try and get my lines a little bit more precise. And we're in with the tabletop, nothing else really to be done on that, so I'm going to zoom back out. And thinking about my two end elevations at either side here. So again, I want to create a small gap between my views, consistent with the gap between the plan. So probably about here. I'm going to come across here. This one's going to be identical on both sides, so it's not overly challenging. I'm going to start to think about maybe bringing across and extending across some construction lines on here. So I'm going to do the right hand side first. So I can see the height of the table, that's not going to change. So I'm going to come across here and I'm just going to extend across that construction line. I'm going to come off the bottom of the tabletop. And we've got this wee crossbar in here that I'm going to be able to see from the side. So I'm just going to bring that across, and I might as well bring across the bottom of that just to make sure that the critical areas line up. Again, one of the parts I'm trying to judge here is the overall thickness of the table, or width of the table, should be the same as what we've got in the plan. So again, I'm just going to judge that by eye, and I'm probably going to come in around about here for the overall thickness of my table. And again, just straight onto here, and I'm going to start to pencil this in, firm in my outlines. So we've got our top surface coming in, two sides on. Probably just want to straighten that line up a wee bit. And again, our outlines. One thing we're going to have to judge now is the overall size of the leg, because when we look at it's one leg of the table, and it's hard to gauge the proportions that are on there. I think it probably goes, if we split that into thirds, then that'll probably, maybe quarters, then that'll probably be right. So I'm going to estimate, I'm going to stick in some construction lines again here, that our overall width probably happens about here. And same again in here. I'm going to just move that one back out. And it is, if we're not happy with it, then we can draw another line, or just by making sure that our construction lines are nice and light. I'm going to go back onto my outlines again and firm this one in. I'm going to zoom in a wee bit and bring that down. So I've got the outside edge of my table and coming across here. Nice and easy. And this is, we're going to have this wee kind of edge that we were working on, the wee crossbar. I think that guy comes down here to here, Just try to judge them in properly, just firm them in. I want those lines to be parallel. And we're coming in, so that's our end elevation, and we're probably looking for another end elevation on the other side. It's going to be identical, so I'm not going to add that one in. You can do that one yourself. So overall, you should have an elevation plan and your two end elevations. These lines should, these views should be lining up with each other to create order. And the lines in there, we're looking for line quality in here, so they're quite sharp, and it's obvious what we're looking at in third angle projection. So that's the end of your tutorial there for 2D sketching and orthographics.